And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today, I am talking with Adam McChesney. Adam, thanks for being my guest today. Thanks for squeezing me in, man.
Yeah, Michael, thanks for having me. Excited to be on here today.
You are welcome. It's going to be a great conversation. Adam and I are like two peas in a pod when it comes to personal branding and marketing and business growth. And I'm going to let him unpack a lot of that. But he's a former medical device salesman who was earning six figures, and he chose to leave that lucrative business to get into like entrepreneurship and start companies. And he runs multiple companies. He's got a 7-figure digital agency. He's on the Inc. 5000 list of one of America's fastest growing companies. And he's a partner of Height Digital in St. Louis. But I really want our conversation, really, Adam, to be around branding, around your message, around how can business owners take themselves, brand themselves, and really make an impact in the world into their audience. That's where I'd love to take this conversation. But as we get there, let's start, Adam. Tell us a little bit about you and how in the world did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So Adam McChesney, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, pretty much lived here my entire life. As Michael mentioned, I was in medical device sales. So right out of college, I started working at a smaller company doing medical device sales, then transitioned over to the largest CPAP manufacturer in the entire world. So did that at that company for about 3.5 years and worked my way up the corporate ladder, was extremely successful, got promoted within 9 months of being there. And so had this upward trajectory at the age of 26, making $200,000 a year at a company that anybody would love to work for. Got to travel the country and was at a very great company. Like there was nothing wrong with the company and things like that. So no crazy stories there, but I always kind of had the entrepreneurial bug of I want to go create something and I don't want to have a ceiling. So there's a lot of pros and cons to corporate America. Won't necessarily get into that. But one of the things that I always, I look back on it and I'm like, was it a good thing that I got promoted and kind of reached that point that I thought would take an extra 10 years early and decide that I wanted to go into entrepreneurship, or should I just kind of taken a different approach, things like that. But when I got promoted and I realized, okay, the next trajectory of all of this stuff is promotions with a little bit more money, but a lot more travel and a lot more responsibility. And at the time, as I was kind of going through this transition, I was in the process of just getting engaged, and then we got married a year later. And I was trying to find ways of how can I make money online, which I'm sure most entrepreneurs have done at one point or another. So that was back in 2018. So I just gotten promoted and I was trying to do the stuff on eBay and Amazon drop shipping. I was like, hey, how hard can this be? Never ended up getting into it, but I did get targeted by an ad that taught digital marketing, and it taught digital marketing in a different sense than where most people take it. So it taught me how to build out websites and rank them and drive traffic to them with paid ads. But I was the landlord of those websites. So I was essentially renting out phone calls, leads, and sales to local businesses. So I had that skill set, but I never really did anything with it. I started building some properties here and there. And then the pandemic obviously hit. And in 2020, I basically told myself, because I had just got married, I said, 2020 is going to be the year that I focus more on my quote unquote hobby, side hustle, whatever you want to call it. And by the end of this year, I'm going to leave medical device sales. Well, obviously the pandemic hit and I had already been kind of progressing towards pouring more time and energy into that side hustle. Well, the pandemic hit. I went from traveling and selling CPAP equipment all over the state of Missouri to, hey, now you're doing everything remotely. A lot of our customers are shut down. They were asking us for us to take days off and things like that. Wow. So I started, any moment I could get, started pouring more time and energy into this. And so that took off within the matter of 6 weeks as the pandemic had just started. So what quickly turned into, hey, it would be a pipe dream if I could leave my job by the end of 2020. By May and June, it was a reality that this is taking off and you can't do both. So in July of 2020, I left and started building out more websites, started growing and things like that. And I switched over from that digital landlord model to a traditional digital marketing agency where I work with all sorts of businesses, from service providers like lawyers and dentists and chiropractors to contractors in the roofing space, HVAC, plumbing. But I do it for their business versus that other model. So there's been a lot of different paths that I've went since going out full time a little over 2 years ago. But I ran my own agency, and that started to do really well. I thought I always wanted to be behind a computer and just start building out websites, because I had been in sales my whole life and running around and doing all that stuff. And I realized, even though I know how to build websites and I know how to rank them and I know how to do the technical side of that stuff, my passion is really growing businesses and in that sales and networking avenue. So I did that. Agency grew, and then I transitioned my agency and merged it with Height Digital. So we're the only agency in the space that operates in a franchise model. So we're kind of scratching the surface on what that is. And we can get into that here in a little bit. But now we're a 7-figure agency, Height Digital St. Louis. So I'm the owner partner there. And we have 25 franchises across the country, 180 full-time team members, and was just named to the Inc. 5000 list.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a journey, man. What a journey.
Crazy journey.
Yeah, it is. But that's what I love about entrepreneurship. We all have crazy journeys. And I tell people, I've been doing this for a decade, and I've reinvented my business probably no less than a dozen times, because you just go and it's like, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, this is going to work, right? And that's part of the joy of entrepreneurship. And one thing that has really changed my life and my clients' life as we speak into their branding and things is the idea of a personal brand for an entrepreneur. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I just find so many business owners are well, they're coffee beans is what I tell them, Adam. I love coffee. If you pour coffee beans on the table in front of you, right, they all look the same, they smell the same. Yeah. And in business, if you look like and sound like your competitors, well, you're not differentiated. You're not giving me a reason to choose you. And I know some of your background and passions are really speaking into that with personal branding and things. Let's have that conversation. Why is that even important? And how do you help business owners get there?
Absolutely. So personal branding, as you mentioned, is like a super big passion of mine. So I went from medical device sales, where we had one other competitor. So it's not like digital marketing where there's hundreds of thousands of different avenues you could go with your digital marketing. So I had to have a mindset shift really quickly after I went full time into this thing, because I basically just had to outcompete one company. And now I'm in a freaking pool of all these other people that's out there. So early on, luckily, I started, following certain people that were very focused on personal branding and very focused on becoming the authority within their space. And it clicked, because when I was coming up into digital marketing, everybody had the same message and the same offer and the same promise and the same all of this other stuff early on. So it's been 2 years now plus that I've been posting on Facebook primarily, but I also do LinkedIn and Instagram, but Facebook primarily from my personal page. I've been posting twice a day, the exact same times for over 2 years now. And what that started to do is it started to attract potential clients, referral partners, supporters of my business in there, but they've all been connected to the Adam McChesney brand, especially when I made the transition from my small agency to partnering and merging with Height Digital. Yes, people know the Height Digital name, but they really know and they want to work with Adam McChesney. Yep. The difference in posting that content is most digital marketers, for example, are only trying to get sales with their content. So they're saying, this is what we can do for you. This is how great we are. We're better than any other company that's out there. Might be true, might be not. I took the different approach, and 90% of my content is directly related to my journey in entrepreneurship, the highs, the lows, the ups and the downs, the failures, the lessons, and the wins. And I resonate with the business owner on the other side of whoever is receiving that message. Yep. And by doing so, it has created this little niche for me to be like, hey, I'm a business owner and I want to go work with Adam, because not only is his team going to help me build a new website, get more leads, help me with my messaging, but I know that he's a real person and I know that I can connect with him. And as silly as that sounds, we literally, so our agency, like I went from doing essentially $0 up until July of 2020 when I went out full time and I made my pivot to now we're going to do close to $1.5 million this year. There are agencies that have been around for 20 years that I know that haven't even crossed that mark. And we don't spend a single dollar on paid advertising. We do no cold outreach. It's your traditional personal branding, referrals, networking, and just producing content with YouTube, podcasts, all that stuff.
Yeah. And the umbrella, and I hope people understood that and heard that, is that what I always say is people buy you more than what you do.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's exactly what you're saying. You have a message that you put out that resonates with your audience. I talk about that all the time. And you said this great thing. Well, I have this little niche. I carved out this little niche. And most people are like, well, I've got to dominate everybody. Well, I'm telling you, you don't have money to do it, right? Carve out a little niche, be a big fish in a really small pond, and there's plenty of money there.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so what Adam's talking about is just the basics of marketing that we teach, we love. It works when you do it right. But did you hear the last thing that you said? And I really love that. You did it all without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on chasing marketing, throw it on the wall. No, people, be yourself and build a brand around you, your experience, because that's going to resonate. It's not that hard. All right, let's get practical. Business owners out there, maybe as an attorney or financial advisor, doesn't matter. They're sitting here going, yeah, that all sounds great. How do I do that? How do I find my story? Let's say, how would you recommend somebody take this out and start figuring out how they should be showing up wherever they go?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is you obviously have to get started. So started with producing content. But even before that, or in sector to that, is I always recommend people take a look at their last 10 clients and then also take a look at their best 10 clients and create an attributes list or description of who those 10 clients are, the last 10 and your best 10, and then try to figure out who your ideal client avatar is. And then also dig back to figure out the questions or the pain points or the key buying decisions that all of those people had, and then create this new ideal client avatar. And then as the days go on, like I have a running section in my phone of notes of questions that our prospective clients ask us, the ones that are our best clients, the ones that are our least best clients, just all of these different things, questions that my team gets. And then I and my team, we're producing content, whether it's via video or podcast or Facebook or wherever. We're producing content around that consistently, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't know where to get started. I guarantee you, if you're a business owner and you talk to 2 people today, there is a list of 20 different topics that you could then go in and produce content around. But people get that analysis paralysis and they end up understanding what they need to do, but they don't move forward, and they don't resonate or talk with their ideal client because they want to be everything to everybody and market to everybody, when in reality, you're not doing it to anybody. So that's where I would recommend getting started.
Yeah. And I love, all right. So you just dropped it again. Implementation, right? We were on coaching programs. We were on a coaching call today. And I said, okay, folks, I gave you a system. Have you implemented it? Because I don't want to give you another one until you implement this, right? Get it done. And we talk about focus time all the time. It's about a 2-hour block of time every week to work on your business, whether it's implementing, creating content, whatever it is, block it out. It's probably more important than a prospect call, because that's where you build systems, and that's how you take your business to the next level. Oh, you said so many things. Client avatar is knowing who are you serving? What is it that they're saying? And then, so I record all of my calls, Adam. You probably do the same thing. And then we go back and we listen to them, and it's like, oh, that's what they said. I'm going to use that in a piece of marketing, because if my prospect is saying it and thinking it, guess what? Others are saying it and thinking it. And so you just put it out there. Here's something I hear a lot of time, Adam. Business owners will say, well, yeah, but I don't want to share that because then my competitor will take it and run with it. You got anything to say there?
Absolutely. So I I've always lived by the abundance mindset. And
Yeah.
so when I'm putting something out, it's really twofold. It's one, to either attract or repel prospects, because the last thing that you want to do is start spending time on more prospecting calls when these people are never going to do business with you. But
Yeah.
it also helps your prospects go throughout the customer journey of working with you, and they're going to be a more qualified, they're going to be a more trained client, which is definitely obviously what you want. But with that abundance mindset, it really does two things. It will help you build your brand as an authority in digital marketing. So I spoke at a conference about a month and a half ago that if you would have told me I would have spoke there previously, I would have been like, you're absolutely crazy. Or even a year ago, 6 months ago, I'd have been like, you're absolutely crazy. The reason that I spoke at that event was a couple different things, but the main is that I share so much content about digital marketing and to help digital marketing agency owners as well, even though I'm never going to sell anything to them. But I just produce content and things like that. So I got asked to go and speak on a panel in Costa Rica. And that same day, Kevin Harrington was on stage, Damon John, Jesse Itzler, like some massive freaking names. And there's Adam McChesney, who 2 years ago was in medical device sales, knew nothing about digital marketing. And there's people sitting in the crowd that have been in digital marketing for 10, 15, 20 years, but they don't have that abundance mindset because they're thinking that, hey, if I go talk about this, then someone's going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm already 10 steps ahead of them by the time that I feel comfortable, or am I even talking a lot about this stuff to where they would even be able to go take it and run with it. But if they do, it even shows more the power of what I'm doing and builds my brand, because normally everything kind of comes back full circle. So that abundance mindset is key.
It really is. And what other people don't realize is that you've got a team behind you, that they might see you doing something, but you've got a team who helps execute that. And they may be a startup company, and well, we're gonna do that. And they try to do it, and they realize there's a lot more to it than just meets the eye, right? So I tell clients, I'll just share it. It's no big deal. Nobody's gonna implement. Talk about what's the future look like for Adam? What's your plan for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So, right now we've grown this agency tremendously over the last 2 years, going to continue obviously to do that. So now I have a full-time team that's doing it, and even someone that's helping with the sales process and things like that. So my day-to-day focus is going to continue running and truly being the CEO and visionary within the business. But what we're going to start to do is we're going to start to do some mergers and acquisitions within the digital agency space to take and help basically nurture agencies that are just not where they want to be. And so that might be merging it with Height Digital St. Louis. It might be us taking equity and ownership and then converting them into a Height franchise. So that's going to be on the agency side route. But for me in the personal brand, I've spoke on 6 or 7 stages so far this year, have a couple more lined up. That's really what I want to continue to do, because what I talk about in a lot of the speeches that I do is more around everything that we've talked about in this episode. So it's personal branding. It's becoming the authority in your niche with personal branding without spending a single dime on any of this stuff. And that translates to anything that you do in business, whether you're a sales rep or you're a business owner. It translates to life. So I want to continue getting that message out there, speaking on more stages and getting more involved in entrepreneurship and events like that, in addition to growing my podcast, my YouTube channel, things like that. So the personal branding side of Adam, it's been an amazing 2 years of being able to do that on the digital agency side, but I really want to take that, get that message out to more people, and continue to grow that here in the future.
That's awesome. Well, you're definitely on a great pathway, a great trajectory. You've done a lot in just a really short period of time. So congratulations on that. And it's just not only kudos to you, but hopefully building up those who are listening to go, it's not rocket science, folks. You've got to put a little bit of thought behind it. Position yourself as the expert, as the authority. And guess what happens? You start getting invited to stage. People recognize who you are, and that begins to change everything. It gives you more gravity, and it's just being true to yourself and who you are. We all have a story. Adam tells his story, and you've got a story to tell as well. Find your story, be true to it, make that part of your personal brand, and have a message to say, and go after, as Adam would say, a smaller niche, a smaller audience. Be a big fish there, and pretty soon you're going to realize you've become a very large fish that others other ponds are starting to look at you. So Adam, I wish you much success, man. I hope hopefully we can circle back and see how things go for you in a year or two. But you've got some really cool things going on. I love the Height Digital model of franchising. That's really intriguing. And yeah, it's been great having you. I can't wait to let people know more about you, and maybe we'll see you on stage one of these days as we go to different conferences.
Absolutely, Michael. I appreciate you having me on, and looking forward to staying connected.
Yeah. How if somebody's interested in you, man, if they want to find out some stuff, where's the best place for them to connect?
Yeah, absolutely. So on social media, it's going to be Instagram. That's the easiest place to get a hold of me. And that is just Adam L. McChesney. So McChesney. And then you can also go to AdamMcChesney.com, where you'll find out everything about me as a speaker, Height Digital St. Louis, and all that great stuff as well.
Awesome. We'll put those in the show notes as well. Adam, thanks for spending some time with me today, man. It's been really, really intriguing. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.